Thank you so much, Emily. Welcome back, everyone. Once again, thank you for joining us this morning or this evening, rather. My name is Soo-Dyan Yoon. Once again, I'm an assistant professor of cultural studies here at Lingnan University in Hong Kong. I'm also the co-organizer of the symposium and co-editor of the special issue journal that I'm working on with Emily. So I will be chairing our panel 3 today with 4 speakers. I will introduce each speaker just before their presentation, and the presentations will be in order of Priyanka Basu, Kristen Rudisell, Beiyu Zhang, and Pingshu Lin. Each speaker has 10 minutes to present, and 2 minutes before the time is up, I will be giving a time warning. So I would like to invite everyone to feel free to introduce yourself once again, and also raise questions and share comments in the chat room while the speakers present. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our first speaker of the day, Dr. Priyanka Basu, who is at British Library and SOAS University of London, South Asia Institute. Her talk is titled, "The Nightingale is a Graceful Dancer, Bulbul Chaudhry, Dance Heritage, and the New Nation State of Pakistan." Dr. Priyanka Basu is the curator of the 2 Centuries of Indian Print at the British Library and a visiting fellow at the Institute of Advanced Studies, University College London. She's currently finishing her monograph, The Cultural Politics of Folk, Traveling Performances in Bangladesh and India, forthcoming from Routledge, UK. Priyanka?
So as Soo-Dyan has already introduced, the topic of my talk today is "The Nightingale is a Graceful Dancer, Bulbul Chaudhry, Dance Heritage, and the New Nation State of Pakistan." So I'm going to speak on the life and works of dancer Bulbul Chaudhry and his tours in his initial tours in West Pakistan and East Pakistan just after the independence of India in 1947. So in his short life and career, Bulbul Chaudhry came under the influence of dancers like Uday Shankar, established the Oriental Fine Arts Association in 1937, performed extensively in East and West Pakistan in 1950, and toured Europe with his troupe in 1953. His approach towards dance in the newly formed nation state of Pakistan coincided with the larger political events of the Second World War, the Bengal famine, partition, as well as the language movement. In his speech, A Dancer's Mission, delivered at a press conference in Karachi in 1950, he underlined the importance of understanding how Pakistan was constituted of Bengalis, Sindhis, Punjabis, and Baluchs, among others, and that the formation of an all-Pakistan national culture rested upon recognizing the indigenous cultures and expressions of each of these groups. Chaudhry's methodology of dance, therefore, encompassed a vision of Inter-Asia, in which he excavated Muslim pasts for the vocabulary of a national dance that he was creating for Pakistan. During the early years of decolonization and Cold War, Chaudhry's performances for the Shah of Iran in Sylhet in East Pakistan, or for Jawaharlal Nehru and Liaquat Ali Khan following the Nehru-Liaquat Pact, signified how such high-level state events were crucial for his travel abroad, and thus in gaining a cultural currency for his troupe. Exploring several biographies on Chaudhry, his wife and dancer Afroza's memoirs, Bulbul's early writings on dance, interviews with first-generation dancers at the Bulbul Academy of Fine Arts in Dhaka, and the existing visual archives in East Pakistani newspapers like Pakistani Khabur, I show how dance as cultural exchange within Inter-Asia helped in shaping modern sensibilities towards national culture, gender roles, and Muslim Bengali heritage. Bulbul and his wife undertook several journeys in colonial and post-colonial South Asia and Europe. These journeys resonate with and underline what Lotte Hoek and Sanjukta Sundaresan have discussed as journeying through and journeys of post-colonial modernisms as undertaken by 2 East Pakistani artists, Zainul Abidin and SM Sultan in London. Bulbul's opportunity to embark on a dance tour in West Pakistan was made possible after his successful invited performance in Sylhet for the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, in March 1950. For the newborn nation state of Pakistan, Iran had become a role model and a site for seeking guidance. The Shah's visit in Sylhet, the first visit by any head of state in Pakistan, therefore, was prepared for with high importance at all fronts. Afroza Bulbul, Bulbul Chaudhry's wife, recalls not just the constructions of new roads for this regal visit, but also a performance space or stage, which was the first of its kind she had witnessed so far. The performances choreographed for the two-day cultural program in honor of the Shah were marked by Bulbul's own knowledge and explorations in Persian history, and the musical score composed by the renowned film composer Timur Baran. The Persian-themed choreographies included Dream of Hafiz, Sohrab Rustam, an epic poem, Vagabond Trio, on Bedouin traveler dancers, and a night at an Iranian tavern, among several choreographies on subcontinental themes and subcontinental and local themes, such as Snake Charmer, Death and Beauty, Hunter, and Holi, the Spring Festival. The performances for the Shah of Iran earned for Bulbul the epithet of a great artist, as the Shah met him personally, congratulating him and lauding his work as surpassing Western ballets. This recognition became a cultural assertion and capital for Bulbul, not only for his following stint in West Pakistan, but also in reperforming these dances throughout his career, including Europe. He even went on to co-draft a new dance with his co-worker, Shambhu Bhattacharya, called Anglo-American Bloc versus Iran for his West Pakistan tour, based on the strife for oil in Iran between Britain and America. Bulbul's East Pakistan dance tour, especially his performance for the Shah of Iran, had attracted the attention of the erstwhile Bengali Governor General of Pakistan, Khwaja Nazimuddin, who was keen on promoting dance and the artists to the intellectual and cultural networks of West Pakistan. Between April and May, Bulbul and his troupe performed in 11 shows held at the Katrak Hall in Karachi, followed by further performances in Lahore, Hyderabad in Sindh, Multan, Rawalpindi, and Mari. Two new dances were choreographed especially for the West Pakistani audience, namely Fishermen and Sweet Little Thief. Sweet Little Thief was based on the childhood mischiefs of the Hindu deity Krishna. However, under the strict instructions against performing on Hindu-themed subjects in West Pakistan, Bulbul changed the character of Krishna in his dance to that of a generic princess. There were linguistic impediments too, considering the dormant yet overwrought undercurrent of negotiations of the Bengali versus Urdu question during the language movement during this period. Bulbul was asked to prepare a separate Urdu souvenir for his dances, despite the English and Bengali language descriptions on the program brochure. The troupe's decision to disregard such a demand resulted in the withdrawal of the radio person announcing the program on air in Urdu for the West Pakistani audience. At another instance, Bulbul readily agreed to the covering of a drum in his performance piece, The Call, as a stage prop with the national flag of Pakistan to garner the support and acceptance of a conservative yet patriotic Muslim audience. Most importantly, the West Pakistan tour coincided with the Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru's first visit to Karachi after partition and following the signing of the Nehru-Liaquat Pact with Pakistan's Prime Minister Liaquat Ali Khan on 8 April 1950. The pact was a joint agreement to extend the jurisdiction of their high commissions into the welfare of minority citizens across the border, but was also an example of how, in the aftermath of partition, the necessity of solidifying the fact of the partition further could also enable acts of greater cooperation between both states, as Pallavi Raghavan has recently explored in her book. For Bulbul to be invited as a dancer representing Pakistan in cultural events organized in honor of the state visit immediately reinstated his identity as the national dancer of Pakistan and as an emblem of the aspiration of a new nation. Besides words of praise and endorsement from both Nehru and Liaquat, this performance paved the way for Bulbul and his troupe to come under the patronage of Begum Liaquat Ali Khan, the Prime Minister's wife, during their performance tour of Europe in 1953. Following Bulbul's return from London and his death in 1954, two institutions were established one after the other to memorialize and carry forward his dream of a national institute. The Bulbul Academy of Fine Arts, or BAFA, in Dhaka, and Bulbul Institute of Culture in Karachi were primarily instituted by the initiatives of Afroza Bulbul. During the late 1950s and early 1960s, Pakistani Khobor, a Bengali periodical, regularly featured dance photographs of performers from both institutions, as well as those outside them at various cultural events. In 1955, the first International Festival of Dance and Music was held in Dhaka, organized by the Pakistan Arts Council, where every district in East Pakistan participated with their folk dances and folk music. Bulbul Chaudhry's dance tours in Pakistan can be seen as a key event in understanding inter-Asia cultural mobility as undertaken by a cultural worker. This cultural work involved ascribing new meanings to previously acquired dance vocabularies and to create a new idiom for the national dance of a Muslim nation. The early political context of decolonization is crucial here as we try to understand the intent and subjects of the dances that were created, as these needed a familiar ground, first for a post-colonial Pakistani audience and later for the newly decolonizing metropole in London. Here, I see both the dances and the process of choreographing, restructuring, and showcasing them as following what Kwang Sing Chen has argued in the context of a decolonization methodology within Asia in focus. The route to a less coerced and more reflexive and dignified subjectivity can be seen in Bulbul's own perceptions regarding the need for an institutionalized national and modern dance for the Muslim nation, even as he performed choreographies on Hindu themes during his student days in Calcutta. Posthumously, the dance heritage he had built for a nascent Pakistan formed the language and medium of cultural activism and protest during the Bangladesh Liberation War in 1971. Contrary to the Bangladeshi example, where Bulbul came to be celebrated as a national dancer, the cultural amnesia and erasure about Bulbul and his troupe in current Pakistan signals how genocide and nation building has resulted in glaring gaps within dance histories. The example of Bulbul Chaudhry's initial writings and experiments in dance is perhaps a pertinent initial route through which an inter-Asia methodology can be perceived towards understanding dance and decolonization. These early encounters, followed by a much sought after international exposure, therefore allow us to rethink modern dance in the South Asian context and to recuperate dancers like Bulbul Chaudhry back into the discourses of dance history in connected geographies. Thank you.